Welcome to this, the first of 10 debates by the City Club of Cleveland in this very important 2008 election cycle. I'm Ralph Delarada, President of the City Club Board of Directors. It is my pleasure to serve as President this year. The City Club, as many of you know, has a long and proud history of hosting debates for public office. Whether the race is perceived by the pollsters to be close or whether the pundits consider it high profile, the City Club of Cleveland provides an opportunity for those interested in their government to learn more about the issues and the candidates. And here at the City Club, we go face to face, in person and in depth. And yes, you, the audience and voters, will get to ask questions. Many thanks to our broadcast partners, IdeaStream and WCLV, and to those watching and listening, including our new partnership with the Cuyahoga County Public Library. Today we are joined electronically with guests watching live from Fairview Park Branch in the heart of the 10th Congressional District. And they will be able to ask a question or two later in the program. 60 minutes will go by very quickly, so let's proceed. WRYC's Tom Barris will be our moderator for today's debate. Tom is the Dean of Cleveland TV Reporters with more than 20 years' experience covering Ohio politics. Tom?
Thanks very much, Ralph. It's always a pleasure to be part of a City Club debate, and especially this one, in which I let me make a few personal disclosures here. First of all, I have a personal and professional interest in this. 10th District Congressman is my congressman. I have known a couple of the candidates here, very long relationship. Dennis Kucinich may not know it, but he is partly responsible for my having this job at WKYC. A brief note, way back when, worked at a TV station in Dayton when a lot of interesting things were happening at Cleveland City Hall. We came up, did an interview with then Mayor Kucinich, put it on an audition tape to Channel 3 in Cleveland. The news director said, "How'd you get him to say those things?" And shortly after that, and Dennis, remember this, any stories that you don't like, you get credit or blame partly.
Further proof that I helped create jobs.
All right. And then Jim Trakas. Jim Trakas I have known through his distinguished political career, and briefly when he was not an office holder, we employed him as a commentator on Between the Lines, and frankly, I sighed when he became a candidate because that meant I couldn't use his wit and wisdom anymore in that regard. So anyway, Jim, it's always been a pleasure to be associated with you. I've not had the pleasure of knowing Mr. Paul Conroy, but a Libertarian candidate, but again in this year of change, we welcome his, I'm sure, interesting and perhaps pushing the envelope opinion. So Paul, thanks very much. So here are the rules. The rules. For the opening portion of the debate. Each candidate will get a total of 7 minutes for both an opening statement and a rebuttal. They get to choose how they divvy up the time. So again, we will hear from each candidate twice in the opening segment, opening statements by each, then rebuttals by each. Total time limit, 7 minutes for each. After opening and rebuttal remarks, we will move to questions from the audience, always my favorite part, and then I will have a closing question for the candidates. And again, just to review the participants here, our candidates are the incumbent, Democratic Congressman Dennis Kucinich, elected to this office in 1996 and re-elected over and over 5 times since then. His Republican opponent, Jim Trakas, 4 terms, an Ohio State representative, and Libertarian candidate Paul Conroy, a small business owner and independent contractor in the automotive business, running for office for the first time. Again, we are very pleased that all of you are here to participate in this event today and listen to the remarks of our candidates. We have one word of caution, though. Any excessive cheering, partisan clapping, booing, hissing, bad thing, and it will be factored in and deducted from your candidate's time for rebuttal or close. The order of presentation was determined by a drawing just a little while ago. Mr. Trakas will present first, then Mr. Kucinich, and then Mr. Conroy. All right, so Jim Trakas, you're up first.
Good afternoon. I am Jim Trakas, and I stand before you today as a serious candidate in serious times, offering myself to do the very serious work that must be done to right our economic ship. Washington has caused many of our local problems, and I seek to go to Congress to fix the mess. With a proven track record as a sincere problem solver, I asked to go to Congress to actually solve problems, not just talk about them. Change begins at home, and I ask voters to demand more from their congressman, to demand more because this time your vote really matters. The sideshow and games are over, and someone has to go to Congress to clean up the mess. I'm volunteering. I have not been part of the problem in Washington, but I can be part of the solution. My platform is one of action, because after 12 years of talk, action is needed. Action in addressing the core problems of our economy. Action to restore common sense to Washington, which is an uncommon virtue today. Action to reduce energy and food costs that have crippled working families because of bad public policy. I offer hard work, not empty slogans and noisy promises that have begun to wear thin on the people of the 10th District. I will be singularly focused on improving our economy. Made in the USA will be back in our stores one day. I propose bring jobs home zones, areas like Lakewood and Parma, Brooklyn and Brook Park, where we can offer substantial incentives for American employers to manufacture products right here in Cleveland, create jobs, and come home from overseas. I advocate for smart trade to benefit American consumers and workers alike and provide for a two-way street for American products to be purchased abroad. My plan would be a comprehensive reform of Wall Street to reward firms and investors that create jobs, provide health care and pension benefits to their workers, and invest in America's economy. My comprehensive energy plan drills for oil and natural gas in America now, expands refinery capacity, provides for clean coal technology, promotes wind and solar power. Ultimately, we can run our vehicles and heat and cool our homes with clean burning fuel cells and batteries that both help our environment and declare our energy independence. While lowering costs for all, the Trakas plan creates jobs right here in Greater Cleveland and understands the reality that we need to do it all in order to lower costs and stop shipping billions of our dollars overseas to enrich others. My plan invests in America and Americans. And thanks to the work that I did in Ohio's legislature to help create 15,000 high-tech jobs in this state, Cleveland is poised to succeed when my ideas are implemented at the federal level. Why do I believe you should send me to Congress? With due respect, I am compelled to offer examples of why I don't believe that Congressman Kucinich has been able to get the job done, and the rhetoric has not matched the reality. While the automotive industry is one of our leading employers, Congressman Kucinich just this month voted against $25 billion to retool our domestic auto industry for energy-efficient vehicles, while saying he supports our auto industry. He voted against American automakers last year with new government mandates that Cleveland employers said would lead to fewer American jobs and would lose market share to Asian competitors. Did you hear that, Parma, Brook Park, and Walton Hills? Those votes did not help to protect your jobs. Our congressman claims to be an advocate for lower energy costs. Really? Just 2 weeks ago, he voted against renewable tax credits that will make wind and solar power affordable and practical. Congressman Kucinich opposes drilling for oil and natural gas in most places in America, opposes clean coal technology and nuclear power. We've heard the big talk, but when it comes time for action on American energy policies, he's voted against all of our realistic energy choices. Our congressman says he has said that he has led the charge on the housing crisis. Well, he sure has. He voted for and supported policies of both the Clinton and Bush administrations, including Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, that encouraged lending to people who could not afford traditional mortgages, encouraging lending institutions to get into subprime loans that were supposed to help poor people and minorities get homes. Our congressman even voted for the deregulation of the financial markets that he decries today as part of President Clinton's last budget in 2000. So he voted against the Great Lakes Compact because there was an obscure provision relating to bottled water, but he voted for the budget that deregulated the banks that he himself says caused this financial problem. I give him credit for working with other Ohioan congressmen to secure federal help in the current mortgage situation and put places like Cleveland first. But many of his policies led to the problems in the first place.